For more information on my programs, please visit massajadi.com. That's MASSAJADY.com.
So we're going to digress for just a second if we can, because when we start talking about identity and a sense of belonging, meaning and purpose for our lives in this present time, I can't help but think of the word emotions. So how do our emotions play into achieving significant success?
Sure. Almost all emotions, and you've heard many books, and it's out there, follow your heart, follow your emotions, follow your intuition. But look where it's gotten you, right? It's gotten you into a lot of heartache, a lot of issues, a lot of bad business deals, so on like that. So your emotions are actually tools used by your underlying program of who you are. Okay? So they're very corrupt. They're not calibrated right. They're not calibrated properly. So what I say is, like, notice your emotions, notice where it's taken you in the past, notice where your intuition has taken you in the past, and that allows you to recalibrate your emotions. And what exponential intelligence, and that's what I help you with, does is like it reprograms you at your deep level, what I call your source code. So when your source code is changed, your emotions change, and it creates a tool for attracting, say, abundance the right way. Your intuition is spot on, time after time after time. Does that make sense for you?
It does, which is why I like it when you start out with notice what you notice the details of what you notice. Because if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and you keep getting the same results, yet you want something different, we all know that's called insanity. So if you notice what you notice the details of what you notice. And one of the things that you notice is that these patterns that you're running, these behaviors, are not moving you toward that 99% of your potential, then what do you need to do differently?
Right. What you're doing almost all the time is that you are emphasizing or proving the patterns that you're running even deeper by your life. So when I say no, just to clarify for the new people, notice what you notice the details of what you notice. So what that really means is not notice how your mind works. I mean, you can do that, but that's even a filter, okay? Because you have a deeper identity. We're talking about identifying yourself at a human level, right? Which goes way back than, say, your self-image. So when I say notice what you notice the details, what that means is notice every action, physical action that you do, the way you hold your cell phone, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you take a shower, all the details of your body. Okay? And I know it sounds kind of strange, but this goes beyond, say, being present, being mindfulness, or any of those, I don't know, tag words that are popular now. Because when you start doing that, you start connecting with time, real time, because your body is, most of us, in real time. Right? And when you start doing that, all the filters that you see yourself through start to fade away, start to come out, start to come to the surface. And that's where notice what you notice the details of what you notice come from, for those people wondering what the hell that means.
And then the next step is you can start to integrate your spirit with your vital source with who you are in this present moment.
Yes, exactly. And that's where you magnify time and space. That's where you magnify your resources. That's where you start to feel limitless, literally. That's where you start to feel the human potential that you can be. I mean, it's real. It starts to come. This is where people reignite their dreams that they had as a child, right? And becoming that grand person. And it's happened. It's not just theory. It's happened to, I don't know, tens of thousands that I've helped.
And I think it's in that space where people begin to define success without the filters.
Exactly.
Or begin to define significant success without the filters, because they're beginning to shed those filters.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now,
You get
of
to be
course,
who
they
you
can work
are.
with you and accelerate that. I mean, your meta
Of
humans
course.
are fantastic for that. You have a tremendous number of programs. They can listen to other podcasts. There are
Mhm.
lots of ways for people to connect with you if
Yes.
the significant success is really what they want to create. And I
True.
think it's also a process
Hmm.
because shedding some of those filters, or a common word nowadays is called
Hmm.
detoxing from that. You
Yeah.
have to get acclimated to your new space so that you
Right.
can go even higher faster. It's like
Right.
eating
It is an
broccoli.
intense process, though.
Yeah, you eat your broccoli because you want to run faster and jump higher. So you
Yeah.
want to shed some of these filters, identify these
Hmm.
patterns so that you can create significant success in an
Right.
accelerated fashion. Yet there's
Exactly.
some foundations that people need to understand in order to do that. And today's conversation is about noticing the external values that our culture, our world enforces on us, and then choosing a different way to be and to create success from an internal position
Yes.
instead of an external position. And if our
Exactly.
listeners don't understand that, they might want to rewind and listen from the beginning about how success is generated from the inside, not the outside. And
Exactly.
I love when you talk next about success being something you attract from
Hmm.
that internal space, not something you chase when you're not centered. Do you want to touch on
Exactly.
that for just a minute?
Sure. Sure. So most individuals, they, have a goal, whether it's money, a relationship, or whatever it is, or a new idea, and they see it outside of themselves. So when you want something, and we'll just do a quick little play here. Imagine something that you want that you don't have. It's something outside of you. Right? Imagine, imagine something that you have. Do you notice that's inside of you? Okay? That separation is how this reality works. As long as that separation exists, okay, you'll never get what you desire. It's always there. You're always chasing after it. Now, people go, well, why is it that I can materialize a goal? It's because most individuals, they literally force themselves through willpower, right, to push into that reality where that, say, goal exists. Okay, although that goal, so they're here, their goal is here, so they've moved over here, and then they lose themselves, they lose their identity, and then they have to go to another goal and another goal to feel, say, complete. That euphoria of stepping from one space to another is what they get addicted to, right? And that's why they always have to chase goals, right? Because when they reach their goal, it dies away. That essence is gone because you've lost yourself. So what significant success is about, or EI is about, you're here. Your goal is in another reality, some reality here, or if you want to call it your doppelganger that already has that space here. Okay, you're here. That goal is here. What you do is like, okay, what do I have to resonate? What frequencies do I have to resonate to attract that goal? And as you clean up all the distortions, whatever, to accommodate this goal, this reality starts pushing, getting attracted to you. So now you're an expansive being. You haven't lost your identity here. You become more expansive, and then not only do you attract that goal, okay, that outcome, but then all the other possibilities that resonate of similar frequencies that created that. So either that or a higher version of what you wanted starts to come into you, and that perpetuates success. So that's how what real success attracts success is about, right? But conventional success is basically success chases after success, and you keep losing yourself. It's a huge difference, guys.
It is. And we talk about magnifying your identity,
Hmm.
magnifying yourself from an internal perspective. And
Yes,
when you are able to magnify, you become a magnet and you attract
exactly.
when you're able to resonate at different frequencies, higher frequencies. Now, in this particular conversation, we haven't had you identify how success is a frequency. Do you want to take just a second for new listeners and help them understand that everything is energy?
Of course.
Everything has a vibration to it, and success has a frequency also.
Yes, everything is a frequency, like you said, and there's different levels of energy. So energy that creates this physical world, and the best way to do it, I guess, is frequencies. The lower level frequencies is heavier, dense objects, and then it's the same frequency, but you resonate it at a higher resonance, right? A higher resonance, it turns into sound, then it turns into heat, then it turns into light, and then it goes higher and higher to, say, X-rays, gamma rays, and so on. And then you go higher and higher and higher and higher, and it turns into a timeless frequency. So I'm talking about that timeless frequency that dictates everything else below it. And I know I went kind of through that fast. There's another
podcast. You did go through that fast because I think some people haven't grasped the idea of how energy is all around us. From my perspective,
energy is all around us.
Plenty of language about energy that people aren't even aware of. Yet when you start, let's take the medical or the scientific field, people go in for X-rays all the time without fully understanding that that is energy that's resonating at such a high frequency that it's invisible, yet it's that invisible energy that's able to create a visible image for people.
Right, exactly. So as you ascend higher, as you say, look at, and this is a great example, so that X-ray, so it's a higher frequency that penetrates your body, right? And then it sees the inside of you. Does that make sense? So as you ascend into EI, right, you become sort of like that X-ray machine, but at a much, much, much higher level. You start to see an X-ray of who you're dealing with. You start to see all the patterns, distortions, the benefits, the good things of that person, just like that X-ray machine. So like when I look at you, whether you're on the phone in front of me or, somebody talks about you, I can say, pull up your X-ray of how you're created or your blueprint. So imagine if you were a business person and you had that ability, that intuitive ability. It'd be amazing, right? Because you'd never really fall into any distorted patterns. You could tell the person if they were right or not.
Yeah, I call them energy vampires, frequency, because you can feel the energy, and sometimes they just suck all the energy out.
Oh, they suck. Of course. So you could watch out for all that if you knew what you were looking for, or if you had that ability to see frequencies like that. So, but let's move on to the next topic.
Well, that brings us to some of the health benefits. I know a lot of people that I've talked to who have accumulated success by the world's definition have sacrificed their health along the way. And then once they've achieved what they consider success, they then sacrifice much of their wealth to regain their health. And a favorite quote of mine is by Virgil, and he says that health is wealth. Yes. So from an EI perspective, what is your take on having to sacrifice your health in order to create success by the world's standards?
It's totally the opposite. It's totally the opposite. So the EI version is that you have to be in a healthy, say, state, in a healthier version of yourself to accommodate the higher frequencies that you are, to maintain the higher frequencies. Say that you're running, 120, which is the standard US. Now that you get into higher frequencies, higher knowledge, higher abundance, now you're running 240. Anything that's weak in you starts to destroy you. So that's why as you resonate higher, as you clean up, you're going to be a powerful, say, individual. You're going to be, let's see, electrical wise, I don't know why electricity comes in, but we're all electromagnetic beings. By the way, that's how you attract wealth. So the purer you are, the stronger of a force that you can attract purity and success towards you. So health, you have to be at a much higher level, and your abundance actually creates, say, more health for you. This is where individuals, and well, you, including you, Don, in a very short time, you've actually looked younger and more vibrant and healthier than ever. If that makes sense to you, which is totally the opposite, because success is supposed to destroy your health and then you're supposed to get it later. But there's a time factor there as well, because if you destroy something and you're older, it's pretty hard to reclaim yourself again, come into your youth. I don't know where they get that consciousness. So this basically is as you go along with success, your physical being becomes more and more and more abundant. This is where people reverse age with the practice of EI. This is where they become healthier, more complete, basically all the way around, emotionally and physically, to maintain those higher levels of success.
And I will also say, the more that you notice what and how EI functions for us as individuals, we do begin to see the distortions in others. We do begin to listen differently. So when it's a matter of noticing the details, it's not only with our eyes, it's with our ears, it's with a sense of knowing. For example, there are family health characteristics that are generational, whether it be a bad back or it be tremors or thyroid conditions. When we can notice these distortions, we can choose a higher frequency that almost works like Teflon. Not me, baby. Not happening to me. I'm deleting that.
Exactly. It's like, that's not how I'm going to age, because that's not your natural course. So you start to remove, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not saying I cure you, but I've seen enough individuals where they start to remove their hereditary patterns of how they age, including heart issues, back issues, cancers, or whatever else. They start to delete all that and become a vibrant, say, older individual. I don't even like to use the word old.
More stable.
Wiser.
Their identity becomes more stable. Their happiness becomes more stable. And I'll offer, your sleep becomes more stable. Now, there's controversy out there on whether you need to give up sleep in order to be successful. And I think it's an interesting conversation, because is it really sleep, or is it a feeling of being rested? Is it an energetic state of having the energy to accomplish what needs to be done? Or is it actually a number of hours of sleep?
Right. So I don't have like scientific studies, but I've worked on, again, a ton of people. And from what I've found out is that those individuals who come into, the higher EI levels, one, they might sleep less. Initially, they might sleep longer and so on. But after they get comfortable, they sleep less, but they take naps. And by the way, that's how a lot of very ingenious individuals, Einstein, Thomas Edison, and so on, did. And they're always like, and sleep in the EI standard, it's just not about rest or rejuvenation. What happens is that when you sleep, you literally reset yourself back into the present moment. So we can do another podcast on sleep. I don't want to get too deep into that. But so when you take like mini naps, like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, for me, I do 22 minutes. I don't know why. But anyway, 22 minutes. And what happens is, like, it resets you with time. It reconnects you to that vital force, the 99%. So when you come back awake, you're reset. Some of the problems, the solutions will naturally come into you, just like those great inventors did. And then you're on your way.
I like to call it recharging.
Recharging. Yes, there you go.
Has a nice energy concept to it.
Yes, exactly.
So I think a lot of the things that we've talked about are external beliefs versus internal beliefs, and identity as a completeness of who we are, and not an instability in terms of
Exactly.
more than one filter running at the same time that separates our identity into multiple aspects. Instead, we're saying, no, we need to create a stable base for our identity so that we are able to achieve significant success from who we are, who we're becoming, and who
Right.
we're aspiring to be as a higher version of ourselves.
True.
So in the external world, they say you have to give up your comforts in order to achieve success. But from what I just said, it seems, again, it's the opposite. When we
Total opposite.
are stable, when we are happy, when we're healthy, when we're rested, when we feel recharged, our comfort is something that we can rely on. And I would even position that if you're feeling uncomfortable, maybe you need to take a closer look and notice why you're uncomfortable and see if maybe there are some filters that are running. Because if I'm complete and I'm whole and I'm solid in my base, then I'm comfortable. I'm not uncomfortable.
Right. I just want to clarify that, though, Dawn, is that, if you're, the key with EI is that you do get uncomfortable, and that's what I call detox. But it's not because, you're uncomfortable. It's not because you were comfortable in the first place. Basically, you were comfortable with your insecurities that you have. Does that make sense? Latching on to people, identifying with other people, creating incompleteness somehow. Does that make sense? So there's a difference between being comfortable. What EI comfortable is that you disconnect from all your securities and you're comfortable no matter what happens to you on the outside. It's kind of like a candle that never flickers. No matter how stormy it is on the outside, no matter what situation that you're in on the outside, internally, you're a solid person. So that's the EI definition of being comfortable, okay? Most individuals, what they do, and this is detrimental if you want to become successful, is that what do? Your internal candle burns, and then it's pretty windy outside. It's like, oh, I have to stay away from that environment. Otherwise, the internal candle blows out, right? So you only surround yourself with situations that you kind of feel stable. Well, you can't really become successful that way, or it's a lot harder path to become successful. So what EI says, again, overall, is like you create this, say, comfort space within you. And then no matter where you are, you're always confident, you're always solid, you're always complete. Right?
Isn't that about your sphere of influence?
Yeah, that would be the EI sphere of influence. I talk about that on the accelerated 21 days. Yes. Which is different than the conventional wisdom or conventional definition of sphere of influence.
I'd love to do another podcast just on that.
Yes. So yeah, we'll say that for another podcast.
So then it comes down to, we're talking about time, and we're talking about magnifying time.
Yes.
And so there are enjoyment factors of life with regard to time. There's entertainment and there's hobbies. And the external version of success says you need to give up your hobbies, you have to forego on entertainment, and your focus has to be on spending your time achieving success, chasing after it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's, I know, it seems crazy.
Sorry.
Yeah, how unenjoyable this whole process is from an external factor, because there are so many things that can be entertaining. Again, that's personal choice.
Of course.
But the Avengers movie just came out. Why do we have to forego, according to the external world, things that we enjoy if we have the ability to take a 22-minute nap and recharge and reset?
Right.
Then we're able to magnify our time and get it all done anyway. So I think there are a lot of misconceptions out there about
Oh, totally.
what's involved in creating success. And the EI version is, I think, much more palatable
Of
because
course.
you don't need anybody else in order to accomplish it, except that you need human interaction to create, I call it a synergy, in
Hmm.
order to accelerate faster. And
Sure.
also to have people point out things, distortions, filters that you don't see, and
Of
then
course.
work with you, Moss, so they can actually get deleted.
Definitely. So let's talk about hobbies, though, because people go, well, you have to forego your hobbies or your pleasures of life, right, and stick to work. But as you ascend higher, what happens is that your life becomes your hobby, which is very different. So no matter what you're doing, whether you're working, whether you're having fun, no matter what it is, you're enjoying the space that you're in, right? It's not that X, Y, and Z provides happiness for me, A, B, C doesn't. So, and again, that goes back into the suffering, right? You have to suffer and then you enjoy later. It's the same pattern. It doesn't work that way, guys. Once you understand yourself, again, what you do, your existence here, just the pleasures of life, whether it's brushing your teeth and doing whatever, the simple things that, most successful individuals try to get out of the way so they can focus on what makes them successful. You're breeding success by enjoying where you are. That breeds success. And it's kind of confusing to me because it doesn't make logical sense at a higher logic level. If success breeds success, bad habits breed bad habits. So why do you think suffering is going to breed success or happiness later on for you?
Not possible.
No, according to their conventional wisdom, right? It's their rule set. I'm just using their rule set. It doesn't make sense. In EI, it works in every situation, in every aspect, time and time and time again. In conventional success, there's always exceptions to the rule on how you create success. This is a big factor, by the way, that I pointed out.
And I think right along those lines,
Mhm.
it's, we've touched a little bit on emotions and we've talked about completeness in identity.
Right.
I think one of the other factors to success in the outside world is that people feel when they achieve success, they don't need to be liked, or that how they're perceived by others factors
Mhm.
into their success. And
Of
I
course.
struggle with that because I don't really care what people think of
Mhm.
me. I don't need to be liked. I am who I am. I'm
Mhm.
becoming the highest version of myself, and I want to
Right.
attract people who resonate with who I be.
Right.
Yet in the outside world, there seems to be this insecurity about needing to be liked. What
Mhm.
are your thoughts about success and whether you need to be liked, you don't need to be liked, or why do
Mhm.
people struggle with that so much?
That's a great question. So there's three different variations. One is that, and I follow a lot of like motivational Instagram posts, channels and so on like that. And they always go, successful people are loners, right? So unfortunately, what happens is that you become a loner, you force yourself to be alone, not because it benefits you, but because you're seeing other successful people and they're mostly loners, right? And so let me clarify that. So that's one aspect. You're not being alone for the right reason, right? You're just doing it because you think that's going to get you success. It doesn't work out that way. But successful individuals, significantly successful people, they hang out with a small group of friends because they don't resonate with the mass society, right? But the reason why they don't is not because they resonate at a very different high level frequency. And well, they so the people that they attract are very far and few in between, right? Most individuals who want to be alone is because they don't like themselves And then being with other people just magnifies who they don't like. So they're not comfortable. The key thing is they're not comfortable with being alone. But one, they're forced to be alone. And two, they think that if they are alone, they'll attract success. That's just straight out bullshit. It doesn't work that way. So significantly successful individuals, they're alone for a very different reason. It's because there's not enough people out there that resonate at their higher frequencies.
Well, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So it's not really that they want to be liked or they don't want to be liked. They're just looking for the people who resonate with who they
Exactly.
are, where they are, and what they are trying
Who they
to
are.
achieve. Yeah, who they are.
Exactly.
Basically, it's identity. It all comes back
Right.
to identity.
And there's a difference between alone and lonely.
Very
Successful
true.
people, significantly successful, they're not lonely. Conventional success, they're alone because they can't integrate with anybody, even distorted individuals, because, well, they have a wealth factor to them, right? So they feel out of place, even with people they wish they could be with. So they're not happy either way. Significantly successful individuals, they're happy alone, they're good with themselves, and then they're happy in a group because they don't lose themselves into the group. They actually enhance that group. So it doesn't matter.
That candle that you were talking about that
Right.
burns the same
Exactly.
no matter what environment they find
Exactly.
themselves.
Exactly.
So when it comes to pride, now I've heard that
Mhm.
you have to swallow your pride in order to be successful. If
Mhm.
you need to do certain things, then you can't allow your ego to take over. You have to swallow your pride.
Mhm.
That seems to run contrary to everything we're talking about with regard to identity,
Definitely.
feeling complete, and having control over
Mhm.
your person.
Of course. Of course. That is so true. So pride, when you have to swallow your pride, you have to sell yourself. This is where that Harvey Weinstein situation happened to people, an extreme version where women go, well, that's what I have to do to become successful in the movie. You don't have to do that. Whenever you have to say, lose your pride to accommodate success, it's never a good thing, especially at the smaller levels. Because if you're comfortable with the smaller levels, then the next level and the chewing away or the I see it kind of like sand. You know how like a sand castle, and the water comes in. It just starts. What is it? God, I'm losing my fire. It, it starts to degrade the sandcastle. Basically, you're degrading your self-identity whenever you take little bits, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then eventually, you're always selling yourself, whether it's in the physical world or a consciousness that you're selling yourself to create success. So again, it never works out for you. This is that you do certain things, whatever it is, but you never lose your identity. You never lose your pride. So, for example, people would go, you're a CEO, right? And now you're mopping the floors. That's for most people. And I'll give you that extreme example. For most people go, shit, what am I doing? I'm a CEO. And now I'm, sweeping the floors as a janitor. Significantly successful people, they know who they are, no matter what role they're doing, what role they're playing. If they need to sweep the floors, if that's what it takes to become successful, they don't lose that identity. They actually become more humble and more expansive in that role of becoming a janitor. And then they know how to treat their employees, including their janitors, with confidence, completeness, and honor. So it's
I
very
think that's
different.
an excellent example.
Yeah.
I will ask though, do you think that pride also has a historical context that has patterns that are dragged from one generation to another that are oftentimes,
Definitely.
They're filters
Mhm.
from baggage that people are carrying with them with regard
Of
to
course.
not an authentic understanding of pride and how you can honor and serve if your identity is whole and complete.
of course, exactly. That's why people go, well, that's below me. I'll never do that, and so on like that. It's because you're identifying your identity with something of an external nature, right?
I
This
think
is
it's
all
great
about
that
you
these
know
are
who
some
you are.
clues for people to actually have tangible, practical
Mm-hmm.
applications, that if they have that thought, or that's maybe it's a filter, and they can start to identify these filters. They can notice,
Exactly.
and then that's the first step in the process of beginning to
Exactly.
remove these filters or
Right.
delete them.
Right. So if you have proper pride, again, significant success pride, you never demean anybody. You never look down upon people, because they're all humans. At a deeper level, you understand what being human is. It goes beyond the physical existence here. So no job, or no matter what you do, you never lose your sense of self. Right? You always honor yourself, and then with that honor, other people honor you because you're at full level or full value. And it's not depending on the title, by the way, because there's a lot of people who carry a title and they get forced to um, um, honor them. Other people get forced to respect them. That's false respect. So pride goes into respect, right? It's like, you have to respect me because I'm your parent. You have to respect me because I'm your boss. I make more money. You have to respect me because of so and so. It doesn't work that way. It never works that way. It's false respect. You have to respect me because I'm your king, or I'm your president, and so on like that. Significant success respect is that you burn at such a high standard of humanity, right? Morality, that people look at you and go, damn, that's respectful, right? It's totally different.
It's almost like a knowing, a sensing, a feeling, a being.
Exactly.
I don't know that it's a label or a title,
Mm-hmm.
because when that
It's
candle
just something
burns
you are.
so solid,
Right.
it just reflects from the inside out.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I've seen people with a ton of money, let's say, driving around in a beater car,
Mm-hmm.
and they're profiled when they show up somewhere, yet their bank account is so
Mm-hmm.
much greater. And yet when they stand, or you stand in their presence, you just
Exactly.
know. You just
You just
know.
know. Exactly. You don't have to have a power tie. I mean, if you do, it enhances you. You know all the little physical things that people do. Power ties. I've seen a lot of political leaders now. They color their hair gray so they look wiser, right? They do that. What else do they do? They sit higher than, say, their client or whoever. It's all those physical things, and yes, it works. It's the art of persuasion, but they can never mask that internal self of who they are, right?
And I think it eventually shows itself,
It
which is
eventually
why we're
shows
talking
itself.
about significant success. It's authentic.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
from the inside out.
Right.
And there are really just two more that I want to
Mm-hmm.
talk about, of those top 15.
Mm-hmm.
And immediate desires.
Mm-hmm.
Here that you have to forego on your immediate desires. You have to put them off so that later on down the road you
Mm-hmm.
will have success. So there
Right.
seems to be this always kind of delayed gratification. Put off having
Right.
kids until you can have enough income that you can not worry about the bills and you can be fully present with your kids. You have to put off having fun and vacations and
Mm-hmm.
entertainment and hobbies. It's the immediate desires are portrayed as enemies of success.
Mm-hmm.
That you have to sacrifice joy now, desires
Mm-hmm.
now.
Right.
Again, that seems to be backwards in terms of.
True, and there's some truth in this one. Okay, but I'll tell you the difference between significant success, delaying immediate, say, gratification, um, is the difference is that when people say delay gratification the conventional way, it's a prison sentence. It's like a diet, right? People go, I have to go on a diet because I have to get healthy. What does that tell your body? right? You're not good enough, basically, right? So delayed gratification is very different in somebody who likes to, say, exercise. Say, for example, that you need to exercise to improve your health, right? A lot of people go, damn, I have to go to the gym. I have to waste my time, whatever. It doesn't benefit you. It really doesn't benefit you as much. But there's individuals who crave going to the gym, right? They crave going to the gym. It enhances them, it accelerates them. So delayed gratification, obviously, it needs to be logical, and there's nothing wrong with that. But how you see it, is it a prison sentence where you're delayed gratification, where you're denying yourself of something, or is it something that if you do X, one second here, if you do X, I'm stronger later on? But most people, again, conventional people go, if I delay myself, I'm losing now for further gratification. So it degrades their future self. Does that make sense to you?
It
Because you're
does.
not good enough now, right? So one, significant success, say, makes you stronger from delayed gratification. Conventional success makes you weaker from delayed gratification.
So again, it's how you choose to look at it, whether it's from lack or
Exactly.
abundance, because what you focus your attention on is what grows.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're focusing
Exactly.
on needing to diet,
Mm-hmm.
you want to lose weight, then you're
Mm-hmm.
focusing on weight, which means you're 9 times out of 10 going to get more weight because that's what you're
Of course.
focusing on. But if you're focusing on getting healthy and eating healthy and exercising and moving and
Mm-hmm.
hydrating, you're going to get more and abundant health. So I
Right.
think what I hear you saying is your perspective on fulfilling immediate desires or embracing delayed gratification are going to be significant to what it is you ultimately achieve.
Exactly. So for like a diet perspective, people who go on a diet, it's like, oh, damn, I can't eat my favorite foods. I can't do this. I can't do that. Right. And then, yeah, they might lose the weight, but again, they're not happy about it because they lost themselves. Significantly successful individuals, they would go, I'm on a diet. It's like, oh, fantastic. This allows me to see how much discipline I have. One second here. This allows me to see how much discipline I have on not eating that food. So how strong I can get, how long I can hold off, right?
How much
Does that make
better I
sense?
feel.
How much better I can be. It's just like, well, I work out a lot. It's like, okay, how much more weight can I lift later on? It's not like, oh shit, I have to, put on more weight, to see if I can lift it to destroy me. It's like, no, I want to push the limits, the boundaries. And that's how significantly successful individuals do. They push the boundaries. Right now I'm doing a fast where I only eat once a day. 1 hour every 24 hours. And people go, God, you must be terrible. It must be terrible for you. It's like, no, I feel really powerful. It's the most amazing thing, Don. And maybe we can talk about it in another podcast on eating this way. But, you find so much power within yourself to control something simple that controls your whole life, your eating habits. Right? Your breathing habit. If you can control, like, for example, me, the eating habit, it's just amazing. The first few days, it was kind of tough. But after this, it's like, holy shit, this is so powerful, because you can integrate with your higher self, the energy that you get, the completeness, the clarity of mind, Don, it is crazy. Even at my levels, it's even more clear for me. And again, it's more power for me. But again, most people, they go, oh shit. Well, I hate to cut down a religion, but the Muslim religion, they do Ramadan where they don't eat, and that's a way of suffering for them. They could turn that around into a blessing and expansiveness and really create, say, significant success that way. But they don't. I don't know why that came up. I guess it's Ramadan, so that's why that comes up. But anyway.
But I think it would be fun to do a podcast on achieving clarity
Of
and different
course.
approaches that could be
Mm-hmm.
used, because I hear people all the time, what's the opposite of clarity? It's confusion. And then I hear things like, oh, I wish I had a crystal ball. Well,
Mm-hmm.
there are euphemisms for I need clarity in my life.
Oh,
And there are
definitely.
ways to achieve clarity using EI or tapping
Mm-hmm.
into EI that I think would make a fascinating
I think so.
podcast,
Yeah,
because
so
it's
write down those questions. Yeah, and I invite the audience to write those questions down for you. Any question or any podcast idea that you guys have, send them into MASEI, so MASEI, so Mas Exponential Intelligence at massajati.com, and we'll turn it into a podcast for you.
That'd be fascinating. So that brings us full circle in many
Mm-hmm.
respects. We started out with time, and now I'd like to end with what the world calls income, because now they're talking about how every penny that you earn in terms of income needs to be invested in your future success. And we touched a little bit about money and a money filter, money beliefs, money abundance, or money lack.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to income and investing in your success monetarily, what would the EI perspective be about generating significant success when it comes to income?
Okay. So the truth behind that, or the original truth of that, is that money, and this is why money is put on a pedestal, okay? Because money signifies how awakened you are, or it's a physical representation of how awakened you are. So that's why people will sell their souls or spirits literally to accommodate money, because it says, look, I'm this successful. What we're talking about is, look, I'm this successful, and there's money that proves it. Does that make sense to you? So, but most people are, I'm this successful, but I've accumulated by selling my soul at some level, spirit level, no matter if you've done hard work, you've sold your soul to the devil, like a lot of people do. A lot of entertainment people are coming out and going, hey, I literally sold myself to the devil. And it's recorded on YouTube, so it's not just me saying it. But anyway, they're here. Their bank account is here, and it's like, look, this is where I should be. This is the way you see me at. It doesn't work that way. So the real investment is that you're investing in bringing your real self up to the level. Does that make sense? So that's where the meaning comes from. So you do things, you invest things that clarify who you are. And part of that income would be, well, savings or doing whatever else to perpetuate further growth. That makes sense to you. Whether it's like investments, savings, stocks, bonds, for me personally, like Bitcoin, gold, and so on like that, or real estate. But that's a smaller, detailed version. Is there anything more I could say on that?
I think magnification, again, brings us full circle.
Yeah.
That your income and your wealth is magnified by your identity, yourself, your higher self, and the filters that you are operating from. And I think the income filters and the money filters are worth interrogating for people so they can notice the details of what they notice. Because if they have filters, and these filters are patterns and behaviors that they're running, and they're chasing success without realizing that it's from within that they're going to magnify the significant success.
Exactly.
Then they need to make a change.
Right, exactly. So this is where money, if you want to invest, so you would do things that will enhance you so you don't have to, again, that goes into the lack mentality, right? That you should use every penny to, again, hoard or basically save. But significant success tells you that if you are tapped into, a limitless resource, right? Obviously, there's that knowledge of saving for later, but then again, knowing that there's limitless resources of physical abundance. So that's a huge factor in it as well. And most people don't realize that, and that's why they hoard money. They become greedy and so on like that. It destroys the wealth that they became, right? It doesn't give them the freedom, the expansiveness of who they are. So when you say investing, invest in things, and it could be luxury items, or it could be a vacation, or whatever it is that makes you feel expansive and grand, right? There's nothing wrong with that. So you're investing in yourself. And when most people do that, they they put money at a higher pedestal than who they are, which actually destroys the reason why you became successful.
So we've covered all 15 of the myths, the sacrifices that the external world claims are necessary in order for success to be achieved by human beings. And our discussion centers around exponential intelligence and significant success as a paradigm shift that enables us to attract success instead of chase after it. And I've heard you talk a lot about frequencies and energy and creating an environment where we are able to remove filters or see filters for what they are and then delete them so that we can become a higher version of ourselves. And as we ascend into a higher version of ourselves, that allows us to actually achieve significant success without chasing it and sacrificing in this crazy way that the world says we need to in order to achieve significant success. So on that note, is there anything else that maybe we haven't covered that you think would be really important for our listeners to understand about significant success?
You know, when you're saying that, the word fiat comes to me. So fiat is basically, right now, is I think the original term is "it shall be," and that's where it comes from. So basically, fiat is fake currency or fake value nowadays. So your dollar is not backed up by anything. It's the trust of the government. Okay, again, it's fake. Okay? A lot of conventional success is fake. It doesn't give you the trueness of who you are. So significant success pulls you into a higher definition of yourself, a pure version of yourself, rather than a distorted version of yourself. And that's the success that you're actually achieving, or that's the significant, or that's the success that you're, say, striving for. That's the real reason why, is to find the purest possible, highest version of yourself. And the only way to do it is significantly. Conventional success pulls you away and creates more of a fiat essence of yourself, version of yourself. So
I think that's an excellent way to put it, because the fiat is a distortion.
It is. It actually is.
So that's excellent. Yeah. Well, Mas, I want to thank you for allowing me to ask you these questions. And again, if our listeners
so fantastic. Thank you.
For podcasts, or they would like to ask you questions, how would they be able to follow up with you with regard to questions or working with you? What's the best way for them to get in contact?
There's a lot of free content. You can look me up, Mas Sajati, podcast Exponential Intelligence, obviously. The 21 days for those people who are really, really serious on just going at a fast pace into your significant self. You can take a look at that at masajati.com. If you have questions or comments, ideas, masei, M-A-S-E-I, at masajati.com. And again, thanks, Don, for being part of this. For you individuals, as we end, notice what you notice, and then notice the details of what you're noticing.
For more information on my programs, please visit masajati.com. That's MASSAJADY.com.